All right, so
This is the default whatever when you open Blender. This is just what it shows you.
yeah, you have a static block, a light, and a camera. None of which you really need basic for building from the start. So let's give everybody a couple more minutes. Let's just have, is anybody still behind? Let's just make sure that who's behind and who's still downloading, who's going to be left behind. So,
You can
Where do you download the kit from? It says donate to to gain access.
No, it's below that is a I accept terms and
Oh right.
You see that? Just hit
Oh,
that.
okay, thanks. Yeah, I see that.
and by the way, to just kind of say, so we did a class last week, and last night I got to see my first example of what somebody did with our toolkit. I think it took me 5 minutes to gather myself from laughing. It was so wonderful and hilarious. So there's some really good stuff coming from somebody who really didn't know 3D modeling, just built it from what we have. So everybody is just a few short steps away from making something really fun and really exciting. So that was quite the wonderful experience going to Marshmallow's World.
Oh,
so,
Marshmallow, right.
Yeah, that was great. That was so great.
He would be here, but he's in Israel, so I think he's asleep. Maybe he isn't.
He's on. All right, so double check again. So everybody's on. So chime in if you're still on Blender. If you're still trying to get Blender. Everybody have Blender?
All right, that's in the chat. Download Blender.
Okay.
All right. This is gonna be fun.
Okay.
So, and show me what the toolkit looks like on your desktop.
All right, let's see. Okay, so once you download, okay, I'm gonna move this.
Now he's Mac. I'm assuming some of you are also Windows. So
we'll have to figure out some of the shortcuts.
Right, because the Command and Alt keys are flipped on Mac and Windows. So
yeah.
But
all right,
you can convert dynamically.
Your basic kit. This is what you get from us. So
what is all that?
So this so here is the Blender, this is the FBX file. So this is all of the 3D models that come in our kit. This is all the tents, the RVs, all the little different objects that you can build and move. They're all independent. They're all by themselves. You can move them in. And this file can be pulled into almost any 3D software. So this file can go into Maya, 3D Studio Max, Cinema 4D, SketchUp, I think I haven't done that yet, though, and Blender.
And Unity.
And Unity, and it can go directly into Unity. But here we have a raw Blender file right here, so you can just open that directly. And we also have it for Maya and 3D Studio Max right here. Now those are these files. Now up here is the toolkit, is the texture. Now 3D models are the objects that take up space. This is the texture that is applied to the model to make it look like an object. So very basic. If you have a flat block or a plane and you have this rug right here, it's going to be a rug. But if you have something a little bit more intricate, like of all these tents and all these RVs right here. So, and then also we have signs here that can be remade. So anything in the toolkit that you want to edit, you edit on this texture. So is everybody?
Why are they all like together like that?
To keep efficiency. You want to save as little space as possible because we're trying to make this hyper efficient for VR work, which is tricky to make where it works. You can't be sloppy with things. So all these textures I've already laid out in a nice flat plane so that's all laid out. And you lay it all out here, in your 3D modeling package, you UV map these things to apply to the poly. But for this, you don't have to worry about that.
So you basically programmed a rug to look at that rug on the right,
Yes.
is what you're calling a UV map. You said this flat empty plane will go with rug number 3, and this flat empty plane will go with rug number 4, etc. Inside the modeling program, you did that.
Now in here, now if you have a slower running computer, because this is a really large, this is an 8,000 pixel file. So if your computer is running a little slow and it's making it tougher, this is a file that's a quarter the size that might help. So if you're running into performance problems, just use this file instead.
Will you show us how to reconnect to the slower one? Cool.
Yeah. And then this is lots of ply dirt. Different kinds of ply dirt. These are all repeated, so you can tile them and you won't see seams. So these are all repeated ply dirt. This is a texture to put on LED objects. And this is a texture for really funky lights. That's gonna be for another topic. That'll be for more of the advanced stuff, but this is something that is available to be useful in the advanced kit. And then, yeah, we're back onto these files. So where are we at now? Does everybody have the kit? And
any questions so far?
Questions?
Chime in. No questions. I love it.
All right. So before we open up Blender, before we open up the toolkit, let's get Blender set up. So Blender has its own hotkeys and setup that I don't know. There's an industry standard and Blender is completely different. So to follow along with me, I recommend that you change this to the industry standard, which also works in Unity, which you will be slightly working in later. So what you do to change all the controls for Blender from Blender to industry standard is, all right, so we need everybody to go here. Okay, where's the chat? Doug, can you type in edit?
Edit.
And then preferences.
Yep.
And then you're in edit Blender preferences right now. So you're gonna see this right here, this
interface.
And what you want to do is you want to go to keyframe, or key map, sorry, right here. Everybody see that? So edit, preference, key map.
Yeah.
Now this right here is going to say Blender with everybody that's just downloaded Blender. Right? Everybody see that? What you want to do is switch it to industry compatible.
Yeah, that'll help it. That'll help you not get your mind crossed out when you move to another program. The keys will feel similar, and that'll help you not have a mental breakdown later.
Yeah, it works and once you get the flow of it, it just works and it's just second nature. There's somebody who's been doing this for super long. So, all right. So is everybody good and caught up on that part?
Everyone change it to industry standard, and you just unmute and then chime in. All of you are muted, so I can't hear anybody. So you have to unmute to chime in. I think I.
Yeah, I've done everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I've also done everything.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Just chime in if you haven't, but all right. Let's open. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the basic right here. So just to get everybody kind of squared away with how to move your viewer window. On a Mac, what you do is, okay, first step, drag your just left click. If everybody's using a 3-button mouse, that's 2 buttons and that scroller bar, that helps a lot. A 1-button mouse is kind of tricky. So is everybody using a 3-button mouse?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good. All right. So first off, to select objects, boom, I've selected everything that's in there. right? There's the light, there's the default block, and there's the camera, right there. Now we want to start from scratch. So everybody kind of feels like how they can move around and select things?
Yeah, this is super important because
I can't move my camera around. I'm used to the old Blender things because I've tried Blender out before. So how do I move my editor's camera?
If you tried Blender before, work with what you're comfortable with. I'm just trying to get a basic standard that goes in. But if you know controls of Blender, stick to that. If you know what you're doing in the 3D package, that's just fine. But for people,
I'm on a Mac, and I'm using 2 fingers, 3 fingers. I can't rotate the box.
okay, so you're on a trackpad.
Yeah, is that completely? I could move to a mouse.
A mouse in this case, I suspect would be easier than a trackpad for this.
Yeah.
I'll just follow along because I'm
You don't have a mouse, right?
going.
There, I don't know what the trackpad equivalent. You should be able to hold down the Option key or Command key while you trackpad and experiment with that.
It's
Perfect.
there's like an XYZ thing in the top right that you move with your trackpad.
Okay, thank you. I got the Option key.
Okay, so yeah, to move your camera around like this, it's on your right hand, you hit the, or left hand, you hit your Option key on your keyboard or Alt on your PC. So you hold that down, and when you have that down, left click on your mouse and move things around, moves your camera like this. And if you unclick that and click your middle mouse button, move like this. And then if you do that with your right click, you zoom in.
Now, some of these have an like a Control Option or Command equivalent to right click, especially on a Mac. So I just want to make sure everybody's getting this because he's going to move around an object and you guys might be like, I can't move around an object. So let's just practice. And then someone was correctly pointing out that the right-hand corner of Blender has that.
Yeah, you can kind of move things. Yeah, you can grab this around here, or you can change your viewpoint to different, like that, if you want.
So everyone chime in about this because
yeah, we want to make sure everybody's
gotta know how to move around and move things around and select things because if you don't, you get lost here.
Then it's no fun afterwards.
You're going to be frustrated. So I really want to pause here and take as much time as necessary to make sure everybody can move around in the different ways. Like you're moving, just play around with moving around.
All right. And then another important key to know is if you want to focus on one particular object, hit F. So you can move around here. And this is also another scene selection toggle right here where you can click on the camera, the light, and the cube over here in this corner. So if you want to find an object that you've named over here and you're lost in La La Land over here, right here, click on that object and hit your F key. It takes you right back to.
So the Q key, the Q button, when you hit Q, it changes it to you're moving yourself around, right? And when you hit W, you're moving the object around. Is that right?
Let's see,
so it's Q, W, E, R, those 4 keys, right?
Never really use the key. It's use Option in that. So
yeah, Q generally puts you in a mode where you're moving yourself around. And then W puts you in a mode where you see the little arrows on the object where you're going to move sort of the object around. And then there's one that makes the object bigger and smaller where you can squeeze it, and one that rotates it. That's the QWER. And
so everybody's caught up on movement. Everybody's.
So we're on the Q key now, moving around.
Yeah.
Chime in if you don't know. That's what key. Yeah, see, that's what they all look like. Walk them through those 4 keys because those are the keys. Keys?
Yeah. So now that you can move your camera around and get different perspectives, there is the W E and R key. W is, you can move it around, so you can grab these arrows to move them across, move objects around in this plane. That works with lights, the camera, and any object is when you have the button, like this one right here. So you click on an object here. So W moves in position, translation. E toggles rotation. Let's see, let's get out of this. There we go. Okay, yeah, key kind of gets confusing, but all right. So W, rotation, E. Now R is scale. You can move things around, or you do the center, you can just move things uniform.
Sometimes I'll say if you're in Q mode where you're moving yourself around and you're trying to select an object, you may have to go into one of the other W, E, or R to be able to select. You might get stuck trying to select something from Q mode and you'll be like, wait, it's not
Q's kind of confused me a couple of times. I know I have the keyframes that work pretty solid on me and just move forward on that. So has everybody got it where they can move around and they can move a cube around, they can circle it, they can rotate it, everybody solid on that? Just making double sure. Chime in, feel free to chime in if we're.
Because it won't be as fun if you don't get this one thing.
All right, I'm gonna take that as everybody is.
Q is where we move, re-explain Q one more time.
Q is actually not. Okay, Q is your different type of selection right here. So you cycle through different, okay, so Q is, okay, so when you have it, Q is a selection box here, or you toggle this, where I think you can make a circle right here. Oh, selection box, okay, there we go. So Q is a different type of selection mode.
Oh, it is? It's not move yourself around like it is in Unity? Isn't that the industry?
Just keep it on, for now, keep it on select box. Keep it simple. You just do that. So this button right here is your Q button, is a shortcut cycle of how do you select different objects. Keep it to select box. Keep it simple, it'll be good. Once you get up and running, you can play with some of those more, but keep it simple on that. Okay, so I think we're ready to bring in a file, right? Everybody solid? All right. Okay, so this is the next step in here. Okay, where is the chat?
Fuck.
All right, so right now we're going to import the toolkit on the file, right? So that's going to be under File in your corner right here. And you're going to go into Import. So File, Import, and it's an FBX file is kind of the base. So we're just going to bring in the raw file of what this is. So Import FBX in your File tab. So this is going to be in a different place than what you guys, so you have to find where you put this file on your own computer, but I'd suggest like just to be easy, put it on your desktop.
Greg, there is also a Blender file in your toolkit.
Yeah, that's an easy way to do, but sometimes I'm walking through the base files.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure just not to cause confusion with that other one.
You just, if you want, you can just go right into, where is it? If you want, you can just go right into this folder right here and just open it right from there. But I want to teach this other way just so people know and understand how to bring in other files. So here is the FBX file from what you download. So you find it. Once you find it from where you downloaded, so it'll probably be in your downloads. So you go in there and you go find your downloads, go to your toolkit. And open. And it'll take a second. Let me get that object there. All right. So we've opened our FBX file, our BRCvr toolkit. And everybody's seeing pretty much what I'm seeing. You can maneuver around, move your cursor around, get a good lay of the land, kind of get practice.
Everyone see this, and can everyone fly around it like he's doing?
Everybody can look around, move around, play around. Is everybody seeing about this?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, now you're gonna see it grayed out. That's because right now in BASIC, there's different modes here that you can select how you see objects. Right here, everybody see this in the corner. You can toggle between just looking for the wire mesh. So this is just the wire mesh of the object. You're really not gonna need to see this.
So someone's asking what the fly around key again is.
It's on a Mac, it's Option, hold down your left mouse button, and then just move your mouse around. If you want to pan, the middle mouse button. So hold down your Option key, or on a PC, I think it's the Alt key, I believe.
Someone with a PC will have to chime in. So is everyone able to fly around like he's doing? Like you can, is everyone comfortable flying, going in and out, flying around, using the Option key or the Command key while you're mousing, or just play with it on your computer for a second so that you can kind of do what he's doing and zoom in and out. You're zooming in and out with your scroll wheel?
Yeah. So I'm moving in and out with the scroll wheel, but it also works with the right mouse button too, but I don't really use that. So pretty much all I use for most of it is Option, left key, left mouse key, and middle.
Cool. Everybody flying around? Now, someone was asking what all the black dots are.
Okay. Oh, so these little lines here. Okay, we're stepping ahead of a couple of things. Just make sure.
Okay.
So right now, we're in wire mesh mode. That really doesn't do you guys much good. Just want to see what you're making. So this is non-textured mode. Right here is the key you want right here. This middle circle right here. Scratch that. The next one. All right. There we go. There we go. So you want to click this circle right here in your corner. This ball, this shiny ball, that turns on the material of your object. So this one right here. Make sure this button right here is selected.
Does everybody see their objects filling in with a material? Chime in if you don't.
Yes.
Oh yeah, or yes.
Only my ground has texture.
What's that? The ground texture?
Only my ground has texture on it.
Okay. All right. So this is what you need to do. All right. So.
Oh no! Wait, no. The other one's just loaded in. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. But if you we can fix the problem that you didn't have. All right. So. This is gonna be a little bit more bad, but this is just kind of to check your things out. Okay, this is your where's the all right, so this is your material shader right here. This is your material tab right here. This base color is where it gets attached to your file. So let's see. I got to go into a different tab for that, and that's.
Well, we'll get back to that because that could be a sidetrack.
We'll get back to that. I don't want to confuse and throw people off. So we're right now we're just moments away from having the fun part. Right? Everybody. Now that we've had our vegetables. We've eaten our vegetables. Now we can have fun. Okay. Oh, these lines. These lines right here represent. These objects are all kind of parented into groups. So like the rugs here are all one group, and that's the parent object point. So if you click on that point, you can move all these objects together. You might not really need that. So, okay. Where did
You suck.
where did I relationship there? Oh, that's right. That's right here. Okay, that's right. All right. So if you want all these lines to get out of your way if they're distracting, this tab right here is right up here in the corner. And by the way, this only applies if these lines are annoying you. If not, don't worry about this. This tab right here, relationship lines, you can toggle those out. So if the lines don't bother you, don't worry about it. But this tab right here, this is your viewport for your viewport options. You can do that. So let's just toggle those off. Now everything's nice and clean, right? All right. So now we can get into discussion of the toolkit. Now you kind of saw the texture map that I showed you with all the rugs and everything.
The Photoshop file.
The Photoshop file, yeah. This is where they're applied. So now you can see this is basically a block. Hit your F key to zoom in. See right there, it's a rug, and it's so you can see right there. It's kind of just a flat object.
Do you still have that Photoshop file open? So you can.
Yeah, right here. Okay, yeah. See that object right there? There's that rug. See this poof right here? There's the texture that applies to that. See how this kind of move this? Let me side this screen. Let me kind of get a side by side of what this is. And then I'll move this over. All right, right here. Okay, so all these nice poofs and blankets. You see that right there. Now to go into more advanced stuff. Look at these RVs. Look at these messed up trailers, right? An Airstream. Look at all right here. That's right here. So we'll step ahead for a second. If you want to change something in this file, you put an image on top of this and it automatically updates. So you don't have to re-UV map anything or rebuild anything. If you want to change, like if you don't think that you'll ever want to deal with leopard print hammock, you want something else, you can put a different texture here in Photoshop.
And then you'll have your own, exactly. And you save it exactly in that block and it'll update it in the Blender.
And it'll update all of the objects, so you completely take out that texture and everything. So this is an overview of the toolkit. Now over here, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Is everybody still fairly?
Yeah.
By my means, chime in. We want to make sure everybody's.
Yeah. You can unmute and chime in or chat or.
You can even cuss a little bit. God knows I've cussed a lot at my end 3D software as well.
How did
Everybody
you
with us.
open it in the texture map in the Windows side by side?
Oh, how did I open it?
Yeah, like I mean, I managed to import it, but you had it to where you could look at both.
It's in the folder. That texture map is included in the toolkit folder. If you look.
Yeah.
So
I just opened this as a preview to show you.
just a JPEG, a regular JPEG file.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, you can if you hit your UV editing tab here, you can open that in there. So this is the file and you can even edit this in Blender and you can draw stuff, but there's other tutorials that will work on that. So we're just going on the basis of getting you guys having fun with this right away. There's lots of other videos going super deep into Blender stuff. So right
Okay.
now, oh, okay. So one object that's very important in this file is this one right here. This is your scale tool. So you can move and scale objects all you want, and that's great. But when you throw this into an alt space world, this guy right here needs to be the size that you want people to walk into your world, because this is the size of a person, so your avatar will be eye length or eye height to that. So don't ever change the scale of this object. Keep that there, or you're gonna have a bad time. So yeah, in the kit, we have the poofs, blankets, stools, cheap, simple bars, nice bars. I do want to put a notice on this. In Blender, it puts this weird shape right here. This is actually supposed to go like this. In all my other software, this looks correct and this is open, but in Blender, but when you put it into Unity, this like smudge thing isn't there. So here you have a lot of 2x4s that you can move and rotate, and you have a lot of like boards and stuff like that. So these are your materials right here. So how's everybody doing now? Everybody see these objects? You have tapestries right here, all these different cloths, and all right, and then you have all these objects. All right, so I think we're ready to start building, right? Everybody feeling good to start building? All right, so this is kind of how I set this up. This is kind of like a palette. You got your little like hand palette right here. You have all these different colors that you can paint with. That's kind of how I try to look at this. So you never want to disturb your palette. You kind of want to keep, I mean, you can move things around however you want, but try to keep things organized. So first step, put a ground at your center. So pick one of these four like sections right here and move it dead center. This is where we're gonna build our camp right here. So take one of the ground and move it. So everybody, let me know if anybody is slow on that. But take that, put it in center.
Everyone move their ground. Everyone stand their ground.
I knew you were
The ground metaphors we could use. DJ Celeste can't move it. So did you select it and then go into which mode did you went into? W mode?
Yeah, select it and then hit W.
Okay, let me try that.
Yeah.
And you just click on the arrows and it's supposed to move up, down,
You're supposed
left,
to drag
right.
the arrow.
Yeah, there's two ways to there's several ways to move it. And first, the simple way to start is just grab by the arrows. If you grab by the circle, you'll move it like that, which seems like it's really good. But then once you move,
Oh, okay, I got it. Figured it out. Sorry.
Accidentally move here, you move it in relation to your camera, and then if you move like this, you move
Okay.
ground plane. So
Yes.
yeah, that'll get you in trouble. There's ways to keep from doing that, which I'll show you next. Let me undo. Okay, so I'm back on the ground plane. Okay, so we're ground plane.
Eek, sorry.
Hello, who is it?
Okay, so when you're doing flat ground first, a good trick to make this easier on everybody, go over here and hit your Z key, right? Your Z point of view right here. This will put you on a perfect looking from up, down, a point of view. So if you hit your Z key right here, so moving around, click right here, you're looking from top down, right? Everybody caught up on that?
Dave says that he can rotate, but he zoomed in too far. He can't zoom out, or he can't pick. Dave, you want to chime in on what? If you're here?
All right. So what you want to do is go over here in this tab right here, that your scene collection. click on, if you ever get lost in Blender, click on one of these objects, go back to your F key. And this will kind of bring you back to center. You know, if you click on, this will always bring you back to a familiar object. So go in your scene collection, find an object that you know is center, hit F, and it'll bring you back home.
F key.
F key.
Okay.
F is to get you back to.
Yeah. F for find object.
Find object. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody still feeling good? Anybody lost?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now that's the fun part. Now you've got all these. Let's start with rugs. Let's make your chill space. Let's start off with rugs, right? You have all these rugs right here, and then you get to go shopping. You get to just select them. Now, what you don't want to do is select a bunch of objects and then move them over to where you want. You don't want to do that because, see, your palette is disrupted. What you want to do, undo, is you select the objects that you want and then you duplicate them.
Now you're selecting objects with the typical hold down the command key while you select.
Yeah, you just
or
click
typical
on
shift or something like that.
this, and then you hold down the shift key, or is that the same in PC? It's been a
I
while.
think it is.
Yeah. So you.
Can you just quickly tell somebody how to remove those black lines again in a real quick way?
Up here, this arrow key right here up in your right hand corner, and hit relationship lines. Right here.
A lot of people think Blender's a dating app because of that, but it isn't. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Ah, dog. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So you can select objects by clicking on them and holding down the shift key, or you can get a select box, drag a group of them. These are all options. Now, once you select the rugs that you like or the objects that you like, you don't move them, you duplicate them. So on the Mac, it's Command D, and it duplicates them, and then it gives you this control where you can just move them around. Hey, what happened? Oh, there they are. Okay. So does everybody understand why I did that? Like
Yeah, you want to have the option to go back to another copy of it later.
Yeah, because then you got to search out and find your object, and well, your object's already been used up, and you got to find that one, and then it gets confusing. So if you always just duplicate, once you get in the rhythm of it, it's automatic nature, just duplicate. And it's okay if you duplicate a lot of objects and then they get moved over here and you don't end up using them. You just delete them later, you know?
Yeah, so let's save this file. Someone's reminding us to save often. So you want to save this as your...
Good point. Shift Command S, or right here. So File, Save As, Save Copy. Pretty standard. And if you're very paranoid about computer and file crashes, sometimes I just like to, I'll export the raw file just to make sure it doesn't get corrupted. So, you know, do your version control every hour or two, save as a different file. You can go back or export the raw. So also when you're done with this and you want to export as a file that everything else can use, like Unity, you don't save, you export as an FBX. So right here, file. There's a lot of different files, but this is just the right one for us to be using right here. OBJ kind of works, but FBX is the key. All right. How are we doing? Everybody still caught up? Okay. So now we have a bunch of rugs that we want to move around. So all you have to do Now that you're in top mode, you can move around with the circle button a lot easier. You don't have to go around like this, because if you're on top mode looking down, it'll only move you in these two X and Y, or yeah, which one is this? Yeah, these two axes. So you don't have to worry about moving this object around and then all of a sudden it's like 10 feet off the ground. You got to resync it. So now with this view, just grab an object, move it around, and I'm not holding anything on my keyboard. I am just clicking with my right hand, click, hold down, move. Click, hold down, move. That's all I'm doing. Now, if I want to rotate, hit your E key, and you can rotate around. So rotate this one over here. Switch back to W to move. Click on this. Move it around. Still the W keys highlighted. Now that I want to rotate it, hit E. Rotate this one. And move it over here. And this one. If I want to make this one a bigger rug, hit your R key, stretch it out, and then move it. So yeah, from this point of view, from your Z button right here, this gives you the nice top-down look.
Does everyone lay down some rugs or what? Greg, can you grab the chicken one? Because that's my favorite.
Yes, I can grab the chicken one. Okay, and so I grab the chicken one. Duplicate. There's the chicken.
Chicken, you can't have a camp without the chickens. Roosters, actually. I don't want to be inaccurate. Maybe I am.
So yeah, and then you can start just grabbing any old objects or signs and just move them over. Duplicate. Also, when you grab a bunch of objects and they're distanced and you duplicate them, it makes a big wide group object. So you'll see this object right here. You move it by the center point of the average of all these different objects. So sometimes it's good to start off with, I just want to move poofs first. So you select these poofs, duplicate those and move those around instead of like doing what I just did. So right there, and there. Okay, so we have some poofs.
I'll just point out from the question in the thing, in the chat, this toolkit is Greg made super efficient. So it's going to be very difficult for you. Well, if you're making a custom thing, we can discuss that at another time. But if you're making something with this toolkit, you can splurge.
Yes.
This toolkit won't break alt space.
Well,
mostly.
It won't unless, or it will unless you do one easy step at the end of once you have everything all set.
That's right. You have to. There's still a few things at the end.
But you could put 50,000 RVs in your world and it would still work if you do this one step. And I will show you that step right now. If everybody's ready for that step, is everybody ready?
Yeah, before we transition anyway, do you want to, we'll finish building your camp and then we'll, I guess, do that step and let people practice.
Okay, but everybody's in a good place where they've learned how to grab. Right now, everybody in this chat can grab a series of objects and move them around and start shopping this toolkit and moving those objects around, correct? Everybody can play and build.
Chime in. You just feel free to unmute yourself or ask questions.
I have a question. I'm moving, I think one of the reasons I'm having a hard time moving objects is they're moving in large portions. So it seems like it's going from square to square, but the grid is very big.
Yeah, okay. Good question. Okay. Right here. I think you might hit the X key. So you can do a snap, which let's see, where's okay. Doing that.
Yeah, they're moving in large increments.
Yep. All right. So there's the snap key right there. So toggle that to off, and that should work. This is your.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yes, that's the problem. Yeah. Okay.
Useful.
That is the problem. Got it. That fixed it.
Perfect.
I try to just shy away from that because that just.
Can you show us the top-down view again, real quick?
Yep.
Someone's asking. The Z right there. Now, and then the Y and the X. I guess those will just kind of.
That does a side view.
Yeah, that's no fun.
It's no fun, but it's also a great way to make sure that you haven't moved any objects
Above the ground, right?
You select. So one trick that I like to do is take my thing, my selector, and just drag just to make sure that no objects are sinking under the ground in that view. And that object, that sign is a little bit too high off the ground. So that's what I use that viewpoint for. But when you do a basic layout, just hit your Z button and just go from the top down. That works just fine.
That's great.
So, oh, I put an RV in the middle of. Let's move that RV.
Okay, I'm a little lost. Did you guys import the textures, or are they just already on that Blender file?
Okay, yeah. You need to. This should transition. If not, we'll have to go back and.
Did you open? Where are you at now? Do you see white? Everything is white, or did you not even get that far?
Everything's white, yeah.
Okay.
So the models are there,
Yeah.
but okay. So
I'm transitioning from a Mac to a Windows laptop, so I'm just like, oh, this is totally new.
okay.
Sorry.
So and you've toggled this button right here. This one right here, this circle button.
Yeah.
And that's on, and you're still not seeing the text. Okay. We are going to have to fix that issue.
Now you opened it as a Blender file, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, now I do. I don't know what.
It just took a beat to come online.
All right. Well, now that I'm here, let me just.
No, it's working now. Viewport shading made it work. Now I can sit down.
All right. But just in case something goes wrong and you disconnect your textures.
Yeah.
It's gonna look scary, but don't worry. So you got these tabs right here, and these tabs are laid out kind of a nice way where you just start left to right on how to build stuff. So your next stage will be this, your next stage will be this, yada, yada, yada. Hopefully, if I've done my job right, most of these stages you don't have to worry about, right? But if you do open this project and you can't do the texture, or you need to relink your texture.
Because you have a lower res texture too that people could use, right?
Yeah. So hit your shading button right here. And this is this is when you click on an object with that material. So pretty much everything is one material. So click on an object, and this brings in the shading properties. Now this is, don't be scared by this. Just kind of look at this as kind of this node setup where it works on the properties of that material. Just ignore this. It's not scary. This is the file. This is the texture that you saw, right, Cal? This is how you link this manually so you click on an object, you go in your shader tab. This gives you the material properties. And then you load this up, and this connects that file. So this reconnects your file, your texture file to your object. So this is just if things break. Now, if things do break, hit me a message. I can walk you through it again, but this is just how you link those files, just in case something goes wrong. Now, everybody else still building and having fun?
I have a problem. I'm able to drag things around okay, but they're ending up, it looks like right under my playa. Like I can see them until I get to the.
Okay. All right. Okay. So how do we fix that simply? Okay. Let's go. So instead of that Z view right here from top down, hit X, which is going to be your side view.
Yeah, I was looking at that and it looks pretty good. I'm using a trackpad, so I am having some trouble navigating, but
Yeah, just like right here, like that's, if you're right here, this object, you can see it right there from this view. See, but if I move this down, it's going to disappear because I've moved it underneath the fly, right?
Yes.
So if you select that object, move it up from camera view, it should pop back up.
With the W key, you move it up.
Some of the objects in the lighting are purple. They have no texture on them. Is that intentional or is it a mistake?
You might not be linked. Your textures might not be linked. So we'll go back to click on your object. Right here. This is the material that your texture is applied to. All you have to do is, see right there. This is all your material properties. This is where the file that goes into the material. All you have to do, don't worry about any of that. Click on the file part in your shading tab. So remember, this is the shading. Okay, now I'm going to switch out the texture to the low res. So this is how you do that. So this is the original file. This is the one I'm reselecting. It's a lot smaller of a file. This is a 15 megabyte file. The one I'm selecting is 1.5. Smaller, so that'll help with your computer. So links. All right. So that should help if you're not seeing your materials right. Not we'll have to troubleshoot. But that's how you would sync that. So now, is everybody comfortable with that? I'm going to grab the wall right here and just put a quick.
Yeah, so is everyone comfortable? Because I think Greg's going to go into turbo mode and build the camp.
I'm just going to put a wall in.
How do you move something? I missed how you move it when you click on it.
Yeah. Right. To move something.
Click it, hit G.
Yeah.
Hit G?
No, the W key goes into move something mode.
G does something. So you want to do is just click on an object.
Oh, okay.
And then
G.
and then you move on the arrows. For some reason it's not zeroing in on certain objects on here, but yeah. Click on an object. And if you're in camera mode, move on the arrows. Or you can top
So I just want to re-point out, if you came in late or did miss the first part, we changed the settings to be industry standard. And so if you're if you didn't do that, our keys might be different from your keys. Did you change that to industry?
Yeah, I did that. I saw all that, but I didn't download Blender until after all that. So.
Oh, copy that. Okay, got it.
Okay. All right, so
Trying to catch up now.
Yeah, copy, sure.
Now when I move around, everything's going super, I mean, when I zoom in or pan around, it's going really, really slowly, like it's moving a very small amount each time.
okay, so are you on a pretty new computer or an older computer?
A pretty new computer.
Okay. Okay. Not sure. I'm not sure why.
I think it's happened before when I go too close to an object. I think that's what it thinks is happening.
Gotcha. So, and I'll also reiterate, when you ever try to find home again, hit your F key when you're putting something in.
But I'm using the Blender settings, and what do you know what the equivalent of the F key is?
Oh.
I'd have to Google through that. I've been using Maya with industry standard settings for 10 years, and
yeah,
standard Blender controllers confuse the heck out of me. And Unity's controls are the same as Blender or as Maya's, so I'm just teaching everybody standard. Otherwise, I can't help anybody. But with this, I can help everybody. So I am not specifically familiar with how Blender does it. So, all right. All right, so I think we're pretty far along. Everybody can move things around. Everybody.
One more question before I move on. How do you get rid of the lines again?
Get rid of the lines? Okay. So all the you're seeing all the dotted relationship lines, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right here.
There was a dating joke. I missed it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah.
It's a relationship line. So right in this viewport, right here is this little arrow key, right? You see that?
Yeah.
Relationship lines.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
How do you turn those off?
What's that?
How do you turn off the relationship lines?
Just toggle it. Right here, this little check right here.
Wait, hold on. My box is over that.
So you just toggle the relationship lines when you go into your viewpoint overlay. So right here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So click that. We're good to go.
Super, thanks.
All right. So I'm ready to. Is it for everybody's ready? I'm going to show you the reason why we're doing this in Blender and not like organizing everything in Unity.
Greg, sorry, people are asking. Tony's asking. He just wants you to show him where that industry standard toggle is.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Right here, it's edit up on your top row right here. Edit preferences. Right. Along. Click edit preferences, and this brings you into this your Blender preferences. You're gonna want to go to map. It's gonna save this in default.
Yeah, that's what I meant by pull down menu. You click there and it's a little drop down menu and you switch it over to industry compatible. When I said pull down menu, I meant.
So this is where it says in default. And boom.
Copy that.
All right. Now this is, okay, so back to where I was before.
Could I ask a quick question? Is there a way to lock something so it doesn't move accidentally?
Yes. Let me see where I know how to do that in Maya. Let me see.
If not, it's fine. I'm just curious because I accidentally moved something
Yeah,
and it tilted in the wrong way. So
yeah, in Maya, you would go and you'd like
Undo
Went
work.
off the reservation.
yeah, undo is great. But if you forget and then it's done and you
Exactly.
lose it and then you come back and it's tilted on the wrong axis.
in
Just
Maya,
curious.
take an object and go you'd like block attribute, and that means I would see how that's great. So there's a Blender equivalent. I need to look that up.
No worries, it's fine. I'll figure it out. I'll do a tutorial online or ask.
Yeah, those little. All right, so let's just call that good on your, like, I'm sure you're gonna play with it more, but let's just call this good and let's select that.
Okay, so that's the camp. Camp exposed to dust.
All right, so this is the camp, but the ground is not selected. So I've selected, this is why we're building things in Blender here instead of just putting all the objects haphazardly into Unity. I'll try to, okay, so when you put your file into VR, the headset looks at every individual object and calculates and thinks about every individual object. So, and that's what's called a draw call. So it's kind of like children. Your headset is trying to think about the location of all these different children. And it's going to overwork the headset and it's going to perform poorly trying to figure out where the hell all their children at. So what we're going to teach you to do is take all those children and just tie them together so you always know where they're at. And your headset will know where that object at. It's basically binding them together so that you can have tons of objects. You don't have to worry about high poly counts or anything. This step will fix all of that. So
This is after you're like, I love it. This is perfect. I'm going to lock it all together as one unit.
Yeah, you're like, I love this. This is perfect. This is my perfect camp. What you do is select all of these objects, but not the ground.
Be careful not to select the ground because you don't want the ground to be part of it. So how do you unselect the ground? Do you hold down the...
Right here, so you just kind of, you hit shift and you click through until it's not selected anymore. So
Could they not just remove the ground or never have put the ground here in the first place? The ground's just for fun, right?
Move the ground over here. That is another option. That's actually probably a simple option. So you have this right here. Click and drag over. Everything's selected. So you select all of your stuff. Everything is selected. You're ready to join and tie all
what are those dots over there?
Those are your origin points. For some reason in Maya, I made the origin point the center, but it doesn't translate in Blender. So that's
okay. Doesn't matter though.
Doesn't matter though. It's just it's a goof on my side because this should be where the center point should be down here.
Right.
I will look up how to fix that on objects, but yeah, it's right in Maya, but for some reason in Blender it didn't translate. So let's select all the objects, right? Now with your cursor over one of the objects, you right click and bring up this menu. So hold down, right click. And what you want to do is join all the objects right here. So repeating that, you drag, right click, and then click on join.
Does everybody join together? I have a question too, Greg. What if you finished your camp, joined it together, but then you need to make a revision or unjoin it or refix it? I mean, or can you save a version pre-joined maybe, or make a copy? I don't know. How would you manage that?
You look that up because in Maya the equivalent is separate, and that's in Maya. Join is actually combined in Maya. What is the? Where is it?
Yeah, maybe it's.
Yeah, you could save it before you join it and then just go back to the saved file.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it that way as well.
Yep. Doug, remind me. So everybody on this chat, I'll look up that answer and put that in there. Oh, I found the solution to what I did before. So to center everything. So if you want, okay. So right now you've joined this object. It's all one object. See, I can move it all together. So when you put your objects in VR, instead of the headset thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20, 30 some different objects, it's only thinking about one. So just doing that button made this 30 times more efficient.
I haven't managed to join mine yet. I was able to select them all, but again, I'm on a trackpad, not a mouse, and so I don't have right click. I don't know. Control click and command click don't seem to be working.
Yeah, it's either option, command, or control click. Yeah, for sure. I think it's what is right click on? Are you on a PC or Mac?
Mac.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, there is another way to do that. Here, this is. I'm going to copy. Where's the chat? Where's my chat? I have chat window. I have the link right here. Done.
Oh, chat is if you look at your now when you're in screen share mode, sometimes on Zoom it doesn't give you chat. But why don't you open it in a web browser? We'll get, or
Here, Doug, I'll send you the
yeah, send it to me and then.
So here we go.
But I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. So where is mine?
Here, just unshare your screen real quick.
Okay. All right, I'll do that. All right. Oh, here it is. Okay. So just go and this is more about join. How to merge objects. So
All right, I got it.
yeah, you'll post that on the chat. All right. So back to this.
Now Janelle wants to know. Janelle, can you chime in here?
What was your question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we can just review quick. I'm able to select items from like the main things that were imported, but I can't move them elsewhere. I can duplicate, but I'm not sure how to like drag them to where I would like them to be.
Okay. All right. Just do that. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let me know if that doesn't make sense.
Okay. So, so just to summarize on this, now that we've joined, see the arrows over here and the object right here. Set origin when you right click on an object. You can now, if you grab your object and the arrows aren't in the center, right click and set origin will make it, we'll put the center object. So like I have a bunch of these objects that have the correct center point. So, all right. So
Did that answer your question? You know, I mean, you can select an object, go into W mode, and then drag the arrow.
Yeah. So let's select a bunch of objects. Let's go into the Z mode right here, the up from up top looking down. All right, are you there? Duplicate, and on my computer, it just automatically lets me move things around right there after I duplicate.
And you're in that sorry, W mode, right?
Not W, the Z-axis mode.
Oh, the Z-axis, but I mean for moving for the.
Yeah, this is W right now. So I got it selected. W moves it around, and E rotates, and R scale. Does that help?
Janelle?
Yeah, sorry, just playing at the same time here, trying
Yeah,
to.
no worries.
Yeah, I think so. I'll just fumble around with it a bit more here and should be good.
Okay. So anyone else have questions?
We're
No, our
getting,
mouse is actually working.
what's that?
How do we know our mouse is my mouse? I can't like I can't move my screen other than to rotate. It's like the center of my grid will not move. I can't take my mouse and go and move across. It just, I can't get from place to place. I mean, the way you're moving around, I can't do that. And I called up Apple, and Apple says, oh, it's probably a technical issue. And I'm like, it only started when I inserted a mouse. And I can't figure out if I should send my computer in or if it's something that I've done.
Can you put your mouse up on the screen? So you just, okay, yeah, you have a 3-button mouse. So yeah, this button right here, that and option, you should be able to navigate. So holding down your option key with your left hand and then moving around, left click.
I think my center isn't moving.
Okay. And you changed the industry standard, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So wait, let me double check that because I reloaded all my software. So
Okay.
anything else, I'll check that. That's gonna take a minute. No, I mean, like, seriously, go to something else and I'll come back in like 5 minutes.
Okay,
Okay.
my turn. Same problem. I'm highlighting my things and I could move them 6 minutes ago, but now I can't. I can rotate them and I can scale them. I learned Blender this week, but I learned Blender's hotkeys, so I'm just like kind of driving drunk right now, learning all the new hotkeys you guys have. But I can't move that. I highlighted I highlighted some textures, hit W, and I can't move them. I don't know what's wrong.
If you know what you're doing in Blender in the other way,
Yeah.
go with that. Go with that. This is you're having trouble. Okay. Because those basic controls we can go through on other tutorials, you can look those up on other tutorials. But this control scheme is how it works in Unity.
I know that's what I'm interested in moving to that. So this is what I have to learn. But so I highlighted 6 textures and I can't move them. I hit W and I'm supposed to drag with my mouse, right?
Yeah.
All right, got it. Why? I did that 45 times. Whatever, it works then. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I just have, I can move everything except for the fancy chairs. They don't seem to move.
You need a VIP card for that.
Oh, yeah. That was part of the mistake that I made that didn't translate over to Blender. I think this will work to fix this. All right, so yeah, you can't move them because the origin is over here, and we're gonna learn how to fix Greg's mistakes.
Okay.
All right, so you select all these objects, right? Set origin. Boom. So select a bunch of objects, right? And that you want. So this is my apology. This didn't translate to Blender. It works in Maya. The origins are in the right place in Maya, but not in Blender. So you select a bunch of the objects where if you select this object, look, it's over here, but the arrow is here, right? Right click, set origin. Origin to geometry, click on that. Now the arrow is on that object and you should be able to move it. So you guys got your first lesson in sloppy files in Blender. In fact, let's just select all these good stuff right here. Just select all these objects. Just select them all. Do the same. Set to origin, origin geometry, and we fixed it all. Right? These work. Those didn't, and I think I made a lot of those because it was last minute and somebody just said, you didn't put any bars in this thing. So I whipped those up really quick. And so those are all the right way. These, yeah, let's go set to origin. Origin geometry, boom. So now you should be able to move your objects and see them and move them around a little bit better. So there, you learned how to fix my goofs. All right, how's everybody doing? Where's everybody at? Is everybody having fun? Still paying attention? We're at.
Can we bring models in from like Sketchfab as well if they're not too big?
Yeah. So that's another subject, and if you know how to, like, this is just the base. This is base to get everybody started. Now, if you bring in, excuse me, another model into Sketchfab from here, you can use all the textures that are available here, or if it's a different texture, you want something else that isn't included, then you edit that in Photoshop and put it here. And that helps keep everything one object, one material, so that you can join everything together and keep everything efficient. Now, if you know what you're doing enough to work around that, this is just the rules that I'm teaching everybody so that they can learn how to break them. But just to know this aesthetic rule, don't just pull in textures and models and just pull them over the sketchbook, not really understanding or knowing what will happen if you put too many polycounts in, because then you're going to have an alt-based world that people jump in and you only, the headset will only work at 10 frames a second. And then you'll get nauseous, people will get nauseous and sick and nobody will enjoy your world and there won't be any fun. So once we get this set up, yeah, you can bring in so many models and use this or update. So, you know, what you do is you grab an object and then you just re-UV map it and match them. That's a whole nother lesson. There's a lot of other tutorials out there on how to UV map to object that you guys can look into. We just want to make sure everybody can walk now. Everybody can walk and build with what's here. So how's everybody doing? Is everybody playing, building, waiting, ready for the next step? Chime in. All right. So is there anybody here that's not familiar with Photoshop or any photo editing?
Nothing.
Okay. This won't be too hard. What we are going to do. So now I'm going to talk to you about changing textures. Right. So let's change out this texture right here. That texture was this one right here, I remember. Can't remember, one of these, right? Okay. So just to test, I kind of did this right here where there's all these rugs online, right? All these different rugs. We want to swap out a texture. This is how you do it. You find a texture that you want to swap. It's a picture, whatever, high resolution, I recommend. So just find, give me a suggestion. Like, what else would you want to put on that rug? Because right here, you click on this, save this image on your desktop. So I downloaded an image right here. And I'm going to show it in the Finder. All right, so here's my downloads. Here's that objects after I've downloaded. So this is a picture, and I downloaded off the internet right here. What I do is I open back up Photoshop. Where did I put? Here's the Photoshop image of the texture map that we're all very familiar with, right? Everybody following me along? This is the base texture. What you do is you take that texture that you just downloaded right here, drag it into Photoshop. Just drag it right on top of this. Just drag it right on top. Everybody see how I did that? Just drag the file right on Photoshop. If you want to edit this, because it's the white areas, you can delete there by hitting your M key, which oh wait. Oops, that's why I would do that. Sometimes with certain files, you have to make sure they're in the right format. So if you can't edit them, click by the layer right here. Make sure that it's rasterized, but don't worry about that. We'll just get you up and running on changing a texture out. So right here, we have this texture. Now, you can do this with a lot of different editing software, but essentially, drag a photo on top of your other texture and save it. All you need to do. Right here. Save as. Where's my window? Where's my photo? Okay, I've lost my, you have 4 windows and everything going on, you lose your save. So, there we go, okay. So this is saving there. Where did it save my window? Oh, there it is, okay, sorry, the chat window. So right here is, I've said I want to save with the Photoshop file. all you have to do is click on, so we're back in the Toolkit folder that we had before, right? Everybody following me? We're gonna save this new Photoshop file on top of the old one.
Okay.
So it should translate right over. It actually won't because I changed it down to the 2K file, but basically with what you guys are doing, you just save it right on top of the file that you're using in Blender. It'll automatically update it. So you make sure it's a JPEG because this is a JPEG format. So save it with the same name, same file format. It says it already exists. You want to replace it? Yes, I want to replace this file. Then you go back into Blender. And this should do it automatically, but I switched the textures around to accommodate and show that. But now you're going to see, it's going to update and.
How do you get out of split screen?
The split screen of Blender?
Yeah.
So what I was in the shader. It's these tabs right here.
Yeah, I just, I accidentally opened a split screen and now I don't know how to close.
Okay, go back to layout right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Now this is a feature that I haven't played with much before, but it can be a lot of fun. You just go into texture paint and you can just paint stuff. You can go on the texture and look, see? You painted on the wood. So you can do that too if you want. I haven't really played with that feature much, but you can do that. But yeah, see, you can. Right there. That's just something right there. So we're pretty much, this is pretty much what I was hoping to teach everybody today. And if everybody kind of has a good idea of what's going on, I think we've done well. Does everybody feel like they know how to play now? Does everybody feel like they know how to play with Legos?
Where's everybody at? Let's check in.
Yeah. This is pretty much done now. So this is question and answer. Let's make sure everybody's, so if you're feeling good, you can log off. If you just want to hang out and chat, I'll stick by for 15 minutes or so and make sure everybody's caught up. Any other questions?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I use DAZ Studio. Do you know that program?
Which one?
DAZ Studio, D-A-Z. It's like a free program. It mostly does characters, but it's a 3D program. If I wanted to do something in there that I understand how to use, can I translate it into this? Or,
Are you
like
saying
if I save everything? So yeah, I mean, I could save like something very similar and then save it as an OBJ with like 10 objects or whatever in it, and then bring it into Blender and save it as a FBX.
Does it export as FBX? You said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I can export as FBX, but I don't know if that would make it individually or if that would join everything together like you wanted.
It all depends on how you have it made in your package. I'm not sure, but just give it a shot. You know, just go and save that file, and then go into File here and import your file in here and see what happens.
Okay, I can save it as FBX and then join it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
everyone
You
hear
can
me?
join it in Blender at the end.
Right.
Yeah, Brian?
Yeah. I got a question that may help a lot of people here trying to do extra models or stuff that's not in this. Is there a spec sheet? You talked about draw calls before.
Yeah, okay.
As long as the draw calls are low, are we good?
Okay, so this is how this works. Okay, draw calls are in the performance, right?
Right.
There's also another balance that we have to have with is file size. So
right.
You don't really, to let people jump into your space in AltSpace, you don't really want to have a file that's over 40, 50 megabytes.
Oh, so it's 10 or 20, it's okay.
Yeah, 10 or 20, it's okay, but
Okay.
that's 10 or 20 with your texture map. And
Yeah.
if you want things to look really crisp, this texture map, you want it to be like 4K or 8K, which work. So that's going to take up some space. But like if you've been on the virtual Playa that we built, that's around 20 to 30 megabytes. We just released one it's a 15 megabyte file, and that's performing pretty decent.
The whole virtual Playa.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing is I'm creating 3D models of large scale sculpture.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to know because
Okay. All right. So
I just need to know that.
Okay, so on Playa, if you want your art piece on main Playa, we're doing a low poly, high poly version. The low poly on Playa, we want to be very simple because it's just pretty much just a fronted side.
Right.
We want it as bare minimum as possible for our entire. So we want artists to be as low detail as possible to communicate what this piece is. So we're talking a few thousand polys. If also they can be the same texture. I would rather a few thousand polys over if they work with this texture map, but I just don't want a bunch of artists pulling in different models and different texture maps because then but once you build your own experience in your own world, your experience can easily be between the 250 to 500,000 polygons.
Because right now my models basically have one basic or two or three basic materials, like not even texture map JPEG quality. That's just like metal.
Perfect.
But the problem is the models are very high poly count because they have lots of, each object has lots of little cutouts like patterns.
Oh, there is a fix for that. So if it's heavily cut out, what you can do is an alpha channel, which is a see-through thing where instead of, what's a good way to exemplify this? Because I don't really have many on here. I have like basically what you can do is if you have a flat plane like this,
right?
You use an alpha channel where all these things are cut out. It's a pass through.
Make an alpha channel for all the cutouts.
PNG?
Yeah, PNG. The PNG with the alpha channel. Those are very big. Those are very big files texture-wise. So I'm being careful with how many of those I want on the main Playa. So that's a trick.
But in your own world.
Yeah, in your own world, go for it. Like that's just. I want to make.
I'm working with at least 4 or 5 or 6 other artists. I already I submitted my thing to this group.
Yes.
I'm also working with, I don't know if you know the artist Mobilis, Richard Felix. He does all the paint walls. He's got a really big presence on Playa.
Okay.
I built it incredibly. It's a massive size model, not like data size, but just like a big sculpture. He wants to go on there. I had a question about how interactive can you be with the things? Can you draw on stuff in the VR world?
There's some Doodle and some other MRE interactivity that we're building and working on right now. Right now we're in object build mode and we're adding in kind of
There's interactable objects you can add after you get it on AltSpace from the AltSpace toolkit or load them off a server, which is a whole nother kind of conversation.
And is there any way you guys could do maybe like a half an hour call or hour call once just with the artist creating models so we have a better understanding, everyone can come up with questions, submit them to you, and then you can have an idea of what we want to talk about, and then and then maybe just answer all those questions.
Sure.
Yeah, we're having those kind of meetings here and there, but you're right. There needs to be an official Zoom call on that. We're getting the community learning how to use Blender first.
Right.
Most of we've been.
I just need a couple of specs, and I'm good to go. So.
Okay.
We're recording this meeting, right? So would it be possible to record those meetings too? That'd be really helpful, just to see it and hear it happen.
Yeah, and we'll record and put this one up. And then also just to that end, we created a Discord chat so people can talk to people and help people out and ask questions. I'm going to post that in the, you can join that chat. I'm going to post that in the chat. I know.
Because I'm happy to work with artists. You know, if I can do the modeling, okay. If not, I could find someone else. But at least help disseminate the information. Like if I understand what's going on, I'm working with like 6 or 7 other people. I can just explain it to them, so we don't have to do it in these meetings.
Level of, now, when we say world, we mean so the way we're working it is we have a big playa, and it's a certain size. But if you go into a portal into your world, you have a lot more space to do something high poly.
Gotcha.
So Greg, what is the limits of how big and thing can be poly-wise?
I've had some worlds that had up to 1 million polys. As long as you group your objects together and have like your draw calls low. So as long as you can have something that's 10,000 polygons and it's 10 copies of 1,000 objects, that's gonna mess everything up. But you can have something that's 500,000 polygons, it's one object that'll work fine, if that makes sense for everybody.
So basically, walking around play a low poly count, but when you go into a transporter, it could be a massive file.
Yes, we can be.
Okay, and all the transporters, are they going to be in center camp like they have now?
They're going to be in center camp and then also by your art piece. So if you put an art piece down on,
of course,
there's going to be this portal that you walk right in, and that jumps you into your world. So, so we want artists to make something that they comfortably feel is at least somewhat of a representation of what their art piece is, just detailed enough to get that message across. Then people go into those worlds, and then they can express their art piece, and it can be in as much detail as technically possible. We're just trying to make sure that you don't have artists going, well, I want it on ply and I want it to look amazing. I want a $50,000, $100,000 polygon object.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I guess
it can be big and fun and powerful.
I don't know Unity at all, and will there be any help? I'm trying to learn Unity. Any help will you all upload to the other universe, the transporter universe? Do I have to create the transporter universe?
Yeah, so we're taking things in, but also if you want control of your own world, you can build it yourself. Now, luckily, to build your own world in Unity, you don't need to know how to code. It's mostly just bring the file in, put a collider on your object so people don't walk through, and then export it out. You don't have to, we can walk you through the steps of exactly what you need to do. You don't need to be super familiar with Blender, in fact, or in Unity. In fact, once you know the controls of how to move things around, that'll help. AltSpace is also putting together some videos on how to do that as well.
Okay.
So we just want to get everybody started on let's start building the worlds, and once you have something and ready to move it forward, we can walk you through that. I tried to do that last week of the whole process, but it was an 1.5 to 2 hour video of the entire process. And so this time we're going, okay, let's make sure everybody knows how to build first. And then let's let people build for a day or two, and then we can walk things out.
Got you. Yeah, it's difficult with people on different skill level. If you guys could do one meeting for the artists who know how to do 3D modeling, I think that'd be very helpful.
Okay, we had a meeting the other day for just 3D artists that weren't the Playa artists. They were just 3D modelers that are helping us. And we have some wonderful 3D artists there. So that can also be a thing where we could get everybody in touch with different 3D artists.
I didn't apply for the 3D modeling part because I didn't know how much time I could afford to put on this, because I don't even have my situation is complicated. But I was talking to Justin, and I would be very happy to help with that.
Okay. Cool.
And any workflow.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put together more documentation on that, and we're going to be doing these kind of videos all the way up till due date. So, does anybody else have any questions that can help out? We're running on an 1.5 hours, and we all want to go about our days. If you don't have any questions, you can jump off. If you have anything else that hasn't been asked.
I have a quick question. So how much room left on the playa do you have for additional art pieces, or is everyone else just going to be like portals to their unique worlds?
Yeah, we have room. We're in a placement right now, so we have room.
Okay. What about sound? Sorry if this is like a really basic question, but so for your playa build, like Black Rock City, where you first go in, is it the sound you have is going to be basically from one source, or if I'm just curious how many different sound sources?
Yeah, we can attach sound files. We just don't want 20 megabytes of MP3s where everything has a different sound, but we can put like a small couple second sound loop on something if you want. We just can't put like huge music tracks of 10 minutes long on each individual art piece. We had that before, but we can put sound on individual objects.
Okay, and then as you get closer to an art piece, does the music get louder? Is that how it works?
Yeah,
and you can set the radius of where the sound starts and where the volume is, and
Yep.
oh,
Okay,
awesome. Wow. All right, I have.
My blender just crashed.
Oh, mine's been crashing too.
Then okay.
I didn't save.
All right.
No, maybe it auto saved.
Okay. So if your blender is crashing, what you want to do is, instead of this massive 8K text, this is high resolution texture that I'm using here. If you're having a problem with Blender crashing, this is what you do. This might fix it. This might fix it. You go into right here. So you click on one of the objects that are in your scene, and you see your layout tabs right here. Go into shading, and then does everybody that's doing this see this window tab that I've got right here? This is your material shader property. Now, this is all like, don't need to worry about this. This is kind of scary stuff until you really jump into it. But this right here, you're going to see a box here that says BRC Toolkit.jpg. Does everybody kind of see that? That's attached. The color of this file goes to the base color of the material. So you see right there. Does everybody see that? This changes the, I guess a good way to do this is to break it. So this changes a different file in here. So I'm going to change the file. I'm going to pick the light grid. See what that did just there? What happened right there? It changed all the textures to a different file, right? Right? Understand that? So what you want to do is this file right here is much smaller, much lower resolution. So it won't be as hard on your computer to move and render. So this might help with crashing. So this is the big version of the Toolkit texture. This is the little one. So this will help your computer if it's having some problems crashing. So to repeat that process, you're in layout first. You move over to your shading tab. Click that. Make sure you click on one of the objects that's your texture file. This is the big one kahuna. You click on that, that'll bring up the material of this object. And then right here is your file tab. You click the little file thing right here. Everybody saw that, this one right here. And this brings the file right here so that you can click on the smaller texture. And that should help with, that should hopefully help with crashing. So any other questions?
Yeah. If I am bringing in like an existing 3D sculpture and I bring it into Blender to make sure it's the right size and everything, do I still need to take it through Unity? Like, does it need to go from Blender to Unity to?
Okay, it doesn't necessarily. What you can do is you can bring that in. if you are building your whole world,
Mhm.
you can do what you want. So
Uh,
so
something that's gonna like
okay.
what programs you may be using.
Okay, so this you can do with your 3D software that puts everything together. You can move things around and then you can combine them to help make sure things are efficient. Once you have your one object, you go into Unity. And so I kind of went over this the last call, but it was the last lecture, but we're going blisterly fast. So you go into Unity and then you download the AltSpace uploader.
Yeah.
You build your, so have you built for AltSpace yet? Or
I have not.
okay. There's another, that's a whole nother video. But
Okay.
if you bring,
I'll watch the other one that you did already too.
you can bring different objects in. We're just giving you the best practices of if you want to make sure you're performing well, this is what you do. And if you start with this base and add a bunch of stuff on, you can add a bunch of your other materials and objects that you want. If you build a lot of the boring stuff with this toolkit and then join all that together, you'll be much further and you can make, and it'll make it perform easier for your bigger sculptures and art pieces.
Okay, thanks. That's what I needed.
Yep. Or if you just don't feel like looking up a picture of tarnished steel, you can use ours.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you just apply whatever, and then if you use our material, you can combine your art piece with all these objects, and it's now still one draw call.
Yeah.
See how that works?
Yes.
So you don't have to, but this is just the best way to hopefully make sure everything's so. Anybody else have any questions?
Oh, well, yeah, one more question. Like, how big, like, as far as, should it be as far as, like, is it like 10 chairs or 3 chairs or 50 chairs? I mean, like that kind of a thing.
However much you want. Like if you can put 50 with the numbers and here, let's okay, right here. So these RVs right here are made hyper polygon efficient. So in your worlds, you can have 250 to 500,000 polygons in your world. This RV right here is made with 50 polygons. So you can have, what's the math? What, 10,000 so of these RVs in your world? It can just be an all RV world. It can just be Winnebago Man for all we want. So with the chair, it's a little bit higher, but it's probably like 100 polygons, whatever. You can have 1,000 chairs as long as you join, as long as you grab all your objects, right click, and join them together.
Okay.
That's the biggest performance things. You can have a lot of objects. As long as you grab everything and join it together as one object, that helps. So,
Okay, so the physical space, I mean, like if you're walking through it, it can be big or it could be a small little intimate space or it could be a large space.
okay, that's a good question. AltSpace's default is 3,000 for the camera, which is about the same size as how big Burning Man is wide. But they were never designed to do what we're doing with Burning Man. AltSpace is just supposed to be these small little rooms. So if you want to build a world that's as big as Burning Man, you can do that just as long as you make sure your objects are baked together and combined together in a very efficient way. So in your worlds, you're not really limited to space. Mostly file size and performance.
Oh, okay.
So anybody else?
Bring in. I just wanted to add, I do like art that's like 2D. If I could put them on like a billboard, and I could put the art like a gallery around or something.
Have you been in AltSpace? Have you been on Playa on BRCvr yet?
No, I haven't.
Because Doug, who was just on here, he's the camp lead for BlackRock Yearbook, and that's hundreds of high detailed, high quality photos. Since we're Yearbook, we just take pictures of people's portraits. So that's some playing around. But here, if you want, so what I'd recommend is if you are wanting a gallery, what I would do is take this face right here and just change your photos out for these rugs.
Uh-huh.
And then when you open them back up, you'll have all these photos set, and you'll be able to compare the quality of, like, you can look into the detail right. For some reason my zoom keyboard. Let's see. I'm having some issues with. All right, there we go. Okay, let's move this one. Okay, here we go. So you can see how detailed this is when you zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
So your photos can probably be okay. So if you don't want a bunch of these rugs in your world, swap them out for your paintings. And then you will automatically have all these things that used to be rugs but are now your paintings that you can rotate like so and hang on your wall.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest, quickest way I would suggest doing that.
What about a wall? You have to make a wall.
Yeah, which here are a bunch of materials here for a bunch of different types of walls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, here you go. Here's plywood. Just move the plywood over there. Press F to find. Oops. Hit the wrong circle. And undo. See, right here. You just scale it. And now you have your wall. And,
okay.
And then what you can do is just or you can be sloppy and just scale it. Screw it, there's my wall. But if you're gonna put pretty art, you want a pretty wall anyway. So.
Hey Greg, somebody was asking if we're gonna have a template Unity, like apply a default Playa thing.
We do. We already do. It's in the advanced toolkit that we haven't released yet. So we have an advanced toolkit which is it takes some different shaders that have to be walked through. If you're not familiar with this, it also has all the LED blinky lights that we can add to our worlds. And it also has backgrounds. It has skyboxes. It has the Playa horizon with beautiful sunrises, sunsets, and noons. Lots of pretty. So that's going to be something that we release very soon. So we're just trying to make sure all our builders can build with plywood before we give them the sky. So we're trying to make sure everybody's covered. But yes.
And we'll have to answer the question in the chat. You can use Maya. Greg is a Maya guy. He does most stuff.
I love Maya.
Yeah,
I love
Maya man.
Absolutely. I would love everybody to use Maya. But yes, Maya works just fine, and I can walk. If you have questions on Maya, I can definitely walk you through those.
How do you unlink? I've got a couple objects linked, but there's no option when you right click to unlink them.
Yeah, that was a question. I need to look that up in, let's see, I'm in the, all right.
To answer your question, if somebody gives you a Unity package or their model, you can, use it, or something to propagate. But they'd have to give it to you. There's no way to go into AltSpace and copy someone's world like that or anything.
All right, so yeah, the only things you should really
there is actually some way to take people's worlds, but it goes against community standards.
Well, I mean, and once a template is loaded into AltSpace, is what I was. But you could copy.
We need to put up a portal to your world. That will be in Unity. That needs to be a very simple, low-poly FBX file. But we will start walking through people on how to build their own AltSpace worlds on their end. So if they have control of their own world, they can change things however they want. It's a pretty straightforward process. But so past that, you'll be able to do everything that you want on that end. So.
Hey, Greg, this is Justin chiming in real quick.
Yep.
I just wanted, I've got to hop off, but I just wanted to make sure everybody has all the channels of communication that we have available right now, and in lieu of getting together like a nice long white paper. So I just want to make sure everybody has the link to the Discord channel, because that's a great place to ask questions and get answers from other folks.
Yeah, Doug put that up, right? You put that up, didn't you, Doug?
Yeah, I posted it several times in the chat.
Okay, great.
I can post it again at the end, I guess.
So, yeah,
Sorry,
here-
my bad for not following closely enough. My floors were horribly dirty and I had to vacuum.
Here's a good page that I sent this to you already, Doug. Post it again. This is a good step-by-step of different, so there's the joining, the adding. This is a good sheet on different alt space control things. Yeah, so how to merge objects. So let me give that.
Is that the link you sent? I can resend it.
Yeah, send it again so everybody. So, okay.
Pretty tricky to unlink these. Wow. I'm on like a forum, and there's different opinions on how to do this.
Yeah, yeah. In Maya, it's you just select it and hit it, extract or separate, and it just undoes it. So I'm not sure in Blender.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll look independently, but
That's why Maya is worth $300 a month subscription cost.
ooh, that's how expensive it is. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's why we're using Blender.
Oh. I create art in Tilt Brush, and that's been kind of tricky for exports.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Tilt Brush people. I see Gene is here. I think Gene was the Tilt Brush expert, getting things over from Tilt Brush into Unity into Altspace. It's a tricky world, but it works. We can do it.
Yeah.
Hey, how come there's no speakers in this bundle?
There are.
Are there? Where are they? I didn't see them. What?
We'll see my
Is it under structures?
camp items.
Camp items. Okay.
Look at that. Look at those speakers.
Oh, I missed it.
I have DJ equipment and a laptop.
Okay, awesome. Are there function ones in there, I hope?
What's that?
Function ones? Never mind. That's like the kind
He's talking
of
about the brand of speakers.
coveted speakers that, yeah.
And I took pictures of different kinds of speakers that I saw on Playa, and they're dusty and beat up. I don't hope that those would suffice a lot. I mean, I went down to, where is it? Like,
So fun. I love it. No, I see him now. Thank you. This is perfect. Thank you for doing all this. It's so much work. I can only imagine. I really appreciate it. I went to the block party for a little bit last night.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, but like last night made it all worth it when I saw the first guy, the first camp that somebody made, someone with this artist, Marshmallow, made the trippy, I'm not going to ruin it. You got to go see it yourself.
I'm sorry, it's for the artist Marshmallow, or he made it?
His name is Marshmallow, and he made
it's not the artist.
He's an Israeli guy. He's a quirky guy. He used the toolkit to make his camp, and and we're also going to use the toolkit to make like ranger stations. It's very, very good for making infrastructure and camps and things like that.
Yeah, it's a good way to be like get people addicted to making it, and then once you get people building something, like, well, you put this time and you have something so close, you're gonna have to finish it. I'm kind of trying to just be a modeling drug pusher and just get people to go, all right, you're building something, you gotta complete it, you gotta put something on Playa, because I want to see some fun stuff on Playa this year. So and I've already started seeing some pretty good stuff already. So yeah. No.
All right. If there's any other questions, we'll wrap it up.
All right, the ground, you said to delete the ground? You don't include the ground?
Oh, no. We just moved the ground out of the way so that we could select things. Okay, so the ground is not an object that you want to join with everything else because it's its own material. You can do it, but you don't want to. So this is its own material, right?
Okay.
So we're putting the ground aside to just link the camp because the ground and the sky and all that stuff will be more important in the next iteration, the phase to Unity.
Okay.
This is all one. So like, remember when I looked before, this is all, here, I'll show you. All right, so when you click on these on the Toolkit objects, for some reason it's not letting me. Click. All right, see how like you click on that object and you can UV map it. See that object, this is the texture file, right here. You go out, you click on the ground, you go back. See, it's just a big square with just this file on it that's repeatable. It's a different material, it's a different texture, so you don't want to join that with your other objects.
Okay.
So this is just a good template to use. All right, and then remember, when you build your kit, I should have named this guy or something, I don't know. I should have put a name on him, but yeah. So origin right here. Build your kit. Drag this over it just to put that feel back of what's it going to be like for a person to be in here. Are they going to bump their heads on any walls? Now we'll do another lecture probably next week on, okay, now that you've built your worlds, any quick questions? And then we'll walk you through, okay, let's take that and throw it into Unity.
Yeah, that's all next week. So let's, there's a lot of data dump here. So let's let you guys process this.
Hopefully nobody's feeling frustrated or headaches. Everybody feeling good, unless your mouse doesn't work, but sorry.
I gotta send it in Apple.
Yeah.
If you use it on other programs and you could test it on different ones and see if it's just Blender that this is happening on, or if you see this behavior on other software, that's the key.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I found the function ones pictures and the textures. You are awesome. I just found it. The speaker texture. You actually did have one in here.
She's good to go then.
Amazing. Good to go.
I try to make this as authentic as possible. I've taken pictures of the bird for this project since 2014.
Damn. I just donated too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's have fun. Go build some cool stuff, so that on Ply Week I can just start bar hopping to everybody's experiences. So.
Woohoo!
All right.
I'll see you guys later. We're gonna stop the recording now.